Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to cover for you guys one of these both fun and serious topics at the same time. And when I've done these Dr. Nunamen raw videos, which are really a lot of fun because it's fun to point out the absolute crazy, stupid bullshit in this industry and in the fitness community between the bros and then when you have the new agey hippie stuff coming in like this, it really makes for some interesting topics. But it's also scary at the sheer stupidity that people can be convinced of is actually real. And particularly by people with any sort of credentials. Like if you have a graduate degree, it seems like you can convince people of sheer stupidity no matter what your degree is in. And this is a perfect example of it. So let me put my hat on here because it makes me look like a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. And again, props to anyone who knows the reference there. But yeah, I had a subscriber, well not a subscriber, they're probably not one of my subscribers, it's a Dr. Nunamen Raw follower who hopped over to my channel, and I got a bunch, I get some really crazy stuff from his followers when I make a video. I'm going to get some crazy stuff in this one too. It's going to be awesome. You guys read the comments below once they flood in, because they're fucking nuts. Like anyone who follows this guy is ape shit fucking nuts, and they're stupid as fuck. The crazy things they type. This one is perfect because he's talking about pranism. And for those who don't know what pranism is, this guy's trying to convince us that pranism is real. It has been scientifically studied. No, it hasn't. Not by any Western science that I know of. And for those who don't know, I talked about them before in one of these. I just used a different name. They're called Breatharians. These are people who honestly believe that they can breathe in all the energy and things that they need through their breath. Right? Through their breath without the need for food or water, and then maybe from taking in sunlight like a plant. And I had met someone one time who was actually a breatharian, and it was summertime in Texas, and I'm talking for those who only know Celsius, it was over 40 degrees Celsius, and he was wearing a hoodie and wrapped up and shivering, mainly because he couldn't produce enough body heat because he was starving to death. And he had been a breatharian for something like 3 weeks already. So I'm trying to remember 2 or 3 weeks. And then he was losing 5 pounds a week and pretty much dying, starving to death. I don't think he kept it up. It was someone I met through another friend who was really convinced because he read some books on this that it was going to work and it was going to be okay. Because he'd been convinced of it by stupid fucking quacks like this dude, Dr. Nunamen Raw guy. Convinced people of this crazy bullshit. And this person's trying to convince us of it too because, he believes in this sort of stuff. But you know what, guys? Here's the thing that you need to understand. It's crazy that these people come in and they talk about, well, this guy has credentials. Where's your PhD? This guy doesn't have a PhD in science. From what I can tell, I can't even find the evidence because he doesn't use his legal name. He made up this Dr. Nunamen Raw thing so that he can have some sort of weird Egyptian-based cult so that he can get a bunch of new age pussy. That's what the guy is actually doing. And the guy also claims to have a world record in powerlifting, and I don't see him listed anywhere in the world records. Just pointing that out also, but it seems like his PhD, from what he's writing and publishing, is in metaphysics. Now, for those who aren't familiar with that, I'm about to sneeze here. Sorry, guys. I'm going to leave that in because I like to leave these raw, even if I sneeze. Got a little, maybe gunpowder in my nose there. Wonder what the nutrition profile is like on that, because I'm certainly not getting a buzz from it. But metaphysics. For those who don't know, metaphysics is in the area of philosophy. If you have a degree in metaphysics, that is a philosophy degree. In fact, they teach metaphysics over at St. Thomas University here, which is a Catholic school, which incidentally is where my girlfriend did her undergrad. But yeah, metaphysics is philosophy, guys. So this person has a PhD in a form of philosophy. That has nothing to do with science. That doesn't make them knowledgeable about science. And in fact, what's crazy is that they've got a PhD in philosophy, which also should include logic, and this person doesn't understand logic at all. Again, they're coming up with crazy shit talking about the fact that they're able to maintain body weight as a 160-pound active male who lifts and does cardio, maintaining their body weight and muscle mass on 1,400 or 1,500 calories a day. Well, the laws of biology say that's impossible. That doesn't happen. So this person comes up with this crazy bullshit, and then you have his crazy followers come in, and they're talking about breatharianism or pranism. Well, you know what? Pranism hasn't been properly studied in a lab because it would be considered unethical. You're not going to get scientists other than maybe Nazi Germany, that Auschwitz. Yeah, they studied pranism right there. There you go. There's your study. Human beings not being allowed to eat food of any type for weeks. You know what happened to them? They starved to death. They lose massive amounts of muscle mass, they lose massive amounts of body fat, weight, and they get organ damage. And they eventually starve to death. So we have studies on breatharianism. And yeah, it's called you die, you starve to death. But as far as an ethical study being done to where they would allow people to be locked in a lab in a metabolic ward and not be allowed to eat any food for a month, who is not a morbidly obese person, it wouldn't be allowed. We have had done one study that I know of on a morbidly obese person who was over 400 pounds, who was put on a 0-calorie diet and giving nothing but water and vitamins and everything. And he lost 5 or 6 pounds every single week for the study. All right. It lasted for a year, and he got down to like 220 pounds or whatever. He was still overweight, but he lost, while on a 0-calorie diet, he lost over 200 pounds. So there's your other study on not eating and taking in no calories. Enormous, rapid weight loss. And unless you're morbidly obese, it's extremely unhealthy. You die from it. When you take people who are at a normal body weight like they did in Auschwitz or any of the concentration camps, there's you a scientific study. They starved to death. So when people come up with this sort of crazy hippie nonsense because they listen to these new age quacks, it's really scary that this stuff makes it into the fitness world, and it's really scary that there's anyone who actually believes it. When people try to convince them of stuff like this, when we know what happens when people don't eat, whether a human, an animal, anything else, you don't become spiritually enlightened. You lose rapid amounts of weight, and if your weight starts getting too low, you lose rapid amounts of muscle mass, your bones demineralize, your organs start breaking down, and you die. That's what happens. That's the scientific facts. So they wouldn't even be allowed to study this in the lab, and anyone who's claiming it outside of the lab, guess what? That falls into the area of you don't have any control over the subject, and you don't know that they're not eating 3,000 calories and you're not watching. You can't use self-reported data. We know that from nutrition studies all around the world, that self-reported data when it comes to caloric intake is some of the most useless research you will ever find, because people, particularly when calories go too low, or people who have certain issues, cannot accurately even track their own calories. We have people who can't even track their calories closely enough to get within 1,500 of what they actually eat, even when they are eating. So when you have people who are trying to pull a hoax claiming this breatharian stuff, who are probably already insane. Anyone who would even attempt the breatharian thing is already mentally off. They already have issues. So they're already probably delusional or suffer from some sort of major delusional disorder. You're going to take their word then on what they claim that they're eating, particularly when they're trying to push some kooky agenda. Why would you do that? That's not science. That's not rational. You have to put them in a metabolic ward. Otherwise, it's not valid. And if you put them in a metabolic ward, you've just starved them to death. That's not going to pass an ethics board. So where this person gets this idea, or any of these people who follow this stuff get these ideas that it's been studied, you know why you guys get the ideas? Because some quack in a book or in a lecture told you it's been studied. But the truth is, it hasn't been. And you can't accurately take any study that anyone does on this with self-reported data. So again, guys, we need to be aware of the kooky, crazy bullshit that has infiltrated the fitness world due to hippies and new agers have pushed some crazy shit in, and in some cases it's even more crazy and dangerous than the stuff the bro scientists push in, and it's coming from the other direction. Be aware of it. It's out there. People like this Dr. Nunamen fall into that category of these kooks who are going to hurt people with their stupid bullshit, this new age crazy shit. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.